What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for Smackdown, May 7th, 2019, and this was the second night after Vince McMahon instituted the wild card rule. And of course, this wild card rule is here because of the slipping ratings. Yes, Monday Night Raw had a slight bump, and I mean a very slight bump up in their Monday Night Raw ratings last night, but it is still the second lowest ratings of the year. So anybody is like, oh my god, this worked, the ratings are going up, Vince McMahon's a genius. No. Tonight showed even more why the wild card rule is a very, very bad idea. If you're going to rely on a Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, even a Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and anybody else, what's that going to do for a Cedric Alexander, a Buddy Murphy, a Cesaro, who we haven't seen in about 3 weeks? Buddy Murphy hasn't even been on SmackDown Live since he had that video, that video where he's just like, I'm coming to SmackDown Live. He hasn't even been on SmackDown yet. Shows how much WWE really wanted to use him. What's that going to do for Heavy Machinery as a tag team? We had Shane McMahon come out wanting to crown new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, and they had to bring the Usos from Raw to interrupt Shane McMahon and be like, wait a minute, you can't be getting serious. We earned those titles, the New Day earned those titles, the Hardys, the Bar, even you, Shane, earned those titles by beating us. And then we get a tag team match out of that. Couldn't have Heavy Machinery, who, oh, by the way, after that match was over with, and we go backstage and we see the new tag team champions. And Daniel Bryan's talking about how they need to get eco-friendly belts. They run into Heavy Machinery. So you mean to tell me Heavy Machinery was at SmackDown Live in the back at catering, and when Shane McMahon was ready to just crown new tag team champions, went, nah, we're good. We're just going to sit here and eat a steak and not do anything else. Yeah, I see a lot of problems with this wild card rule. Maybe one superstar would be fine. I mean, one superstar is not that big of a deal, but four? You had the Usos take up the spot of who could have been Heavy Machinery. You had Sami Zayn and AJ Styles take up a spot for anybody else because Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn wrestled for the WWE Championship in the main event. The only positive of this week is the fact that Becky Lynch was not on SmackDown Live. We actually got a day off of Becky Lynch, Becky Two Belts, who's on the Raw portion of probably the Raw leg of the European tour, which started this week, and that's why Roman was actually the reason that they instituted the wild card rule this week is because Roman is scheduled for the Raw events in Europe, and Finn Balor is as well, while AJ Styles and the Usos are on the SmackDown leg. That's why they instituted this wild card rule this week. They could have did it last week. The ratings have been slipping since WrestleMania. They could have did it last week. They could have said instead of the Superstar Shakeup, we're going to do a wild card rule. But no, they waited until this week alone because of the European tour, and they wanted to give them an excuse to have Roman on the Raw leg, and Roman, and I believe Finn Balor too, who was not at SmackDown but did post a video about going to Money in the Bank, and he said Finn 2 belts. God, that was awful. Yeah. I guess SmackDown Live definitely not as bad as Monday Night Raw by a mile. I would not be surprised if Brian Zane starts his Who Wore Better in about 5-6 hours with SmackDown 1 this week, and here's why. Because Monday Night Raw was absolutely abysmal. Go check that out on my channel right now, where I just ranted for about 37 minutes. I didn't even go over the show because the show honestly did not deserve to be reviewed whatsoever. It did not deserve any in-depth of anything because it was honestly that fucking bad. Tonight was a breath of fresh air, sort of, but still not because of this wild card rule and the fact that it's supposed to be 4. Mind you, 4. We had Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and Jimmy and Jay. Do Jimmy and Jay and the Usos count as 1? Because after the tag team match, Shane is going to make an announcement on the Money in the Bank ladder match, which if you have this wild card rule, you bet your ass they better institute what should have been instituted last year, is that the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match gets to choose, can cash in on the WWE or Universal Champion, because quite honestly, if there's a wild card rule and you could be on both Raw or SmackDown each week, say Finn wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. He goes and, Seth Rollins or whoever beats Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship is down and out. He goes, cashes in, and he can win. There you go. Or you have, Ricochet win it, and Kofi Kingston's in a huge triple threat, a singles match against Kevin Owens, and he cashes in and makes it a triple threat and ends up winning the WWE Championship. That better be what they fucking do. It looked like that was what Shane was going to say, but, of course, the fifth person from Monday Night Raw to show up on SmackDown Live, probably because The Miz is on the SmackDown leg of the European tour as well, was The Miz. He beat the hell out of Shane for a bit. The B team came out, beat him down, and that was that. So, SmackDown Live again, not as bad as Monday Night Raw, but not a picture-perfect show. The show started off with AJ Styles. Who else was going to show off immediately? This was, like I said, this wildcard rule has many problems. Many, many problems. One, it's going to hurt SmackDown house shows, for sure. Because SmackDown has a house show the night of Monday Night Raw. I don't think Raw has one the night of SmackDown Live. I think their tour dates, I think they end their tour at, on Mondays, and then they have Tuesday, Wednesday off. They go Thursday left. I know they go 4 days. They go, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then they're off on Tuesday. And then, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it's just very complicated. But SmackDown has a house show, and you can't and they're going to be advertising Roman Reigns on a SmackDown house show next Monday. And they take and say, Roman, nope, you're not going there. You're going to Monday Night Raw because we need this to happen. And then you get to, say 3 weeks from now, and you have, Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens build for a house show in the main event for the WWE Championship, and you have fans who want to see Kofi for that match. Oh, no, that match got canceled because Kofi Kingston is needed for Monday Night Raw. Big problems, and it just spirals WWE down in the WCW route. They're not losing money as fast as WCW was at that time, where WCW was having house shows and they would false advertising. But it's starting to get very bad, and this is definitely not looking good. It's going to hurt the talent of a Buddy Murphy or a Heavy Machinery, Cedric Alexander, Sheamus, Cesaro, whatever happens with the bar. If you have this wildcard rule now, then the bar can't technically be broken up, because you could have Sheamus on the show with Cesaro 1 week and then Sheamus and Cesaro the next week on SmackDown. So quite honestly, the bar could be the first inter-brand tag team that we have right now. The wildcard rule has a lot of problems. It does. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, if they have this wildcard rule, why don't you just merge the women's divisions and the tag team divisions? Quite honestly, if they're going with this wildcard rule, you might as well. Quite honestly, I've been opposed to the merging of the divisions because it makes no sense. You need to keep the brand split as well as you can. But since the fact that you have Becky, you have the 4 can move to Raw and 4 can move to SmackDown, you could have literally the 4 champions on Raw show up on SmackDown and vice versa whenever the fuck they feel like it. So pretty much just kill the goddamn brand split. There is no brand split. Unless you want to make this wildcard rule and refine it to where 4 from Raw to SmackDown and 1 to SmackDown and Raw. But if you are a champion after Becky Lynch loses one of the titles, if you're a champion outside of the Iconics, you are not allowed to be in this rule. You are stuck to your brand unless you are not a champion. I know last night that rule couldn't have applied because Kofi Kingston was on Raw, but if they want to refine it and make it a little bit better, because this is what they're going with for now until they see a jump up in the ratings, which I'm telling you right now, SmackDown ratings are probably going to drop again, and it's not because Roman was there. This show, again, I'll have more going on the wild card rule, and I'll have a little bit more thought out when we get to Unscripted this Saturday. Let's move on to what the show was like. The show started off with AJ Styles. He says he missed the SmackDown. He missed SmackDown Live. He talked about Vince creating the wild card rule last night on Raw. Says that it means if you're brave enough and fast enough, you can be one of the 4 superstars to crash a rival brand each week. You can scratch the rival out of that because, quite honestly, outside of Survivor Series, that build up to Survivor Series, these brands really aren't rivals. AJ says he sure as hell is going to be the first because SmackDown is still the house that AJ Styles built, and out comes Sami Zayn. I'm just going to find it hilarious if we get to the Survivor Series weekend this year. I'm going to go out this way. And this wildcard rule, if it's still going on, I would love to hear Michael Cole or Tom Phillips say, Survivor Series, the only time of the year that SmackDown versus Raw is a thing. I'm like, the wildcard rule has been happening since May, so what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, Sami starts ranting about whether he would rather be anywhere but Kentucky, where they were at, surrounded by a bunch of Kentucky fried hillbillies. Sami says he knew he'd have to take advantage of the rule and show up because if he didn't, no one else would come out and call out AJ for his toxic ego, which is out of control. AJ says it's great to see that you get out of that dumpster, but what the fuck, and he didn't say what the fuck, but he said, what the hell is that smell? You smell like a foot because of Braun Strowman dumping him in the trash can. Sami says he did shower, but it doesn't come out that easily. Trust me, I'm not saying I've been in a dumpster, but I've worked places I've worked fast food, and trust me, that shit don't come out immediately. It took me, after I left my last fast food job 5-6 years ago, it took me a fucking month to stop smelling like fast food. I'm just going to put it out there. Fans chant for AJ, Sami rants, but it gets interrupted by the New Day's Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Kofi and Woods can't believe they weren't invited to the party. Kofi mocks AJ's catchphrase and says he doesn't live at this house anymore. Kofi and Woods have entered the ring now. Kofi asks AJ, what is he doing here tonight? AJ says he saw Kofi on Raw last night and figured he would return the favor, champ. Woods says, in the immortal words of Vanilla Ice, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Really? Is that the best you can do? Kofi says, ask AJ what he wants. Like, you're in the middle of the ring. Now I'm in the middle of the ring. What are you going to do about it? Sami tells them both to stop this right now. Sami says, he loves Kofi for whatever reason, and says, Kofi is not about to sit here and offer AJ a WWE title shot. He says, I hope you're not considering this. Sami says he loves Kofi, so he's going to tell him the truth that no one else here, including Woods, will do. And says the fans are not happy for Kofi. He got a taste of their affection, and now he's caught up in the trap of trying to please them. Sami says if anyone deserves a WWE title shot, it's him. How do you deserve a title shot? Ever since you lost your return match to Finn Balor for the Intercontinental title, you've done nothing but come out, bitch, moan, and complain about the WWE Universe. So please, Sami, tell me why you deserve a WWE Championship. I'm waiting. I'm absolutely waiting. If they deserve it or not, Kofi was a serious question for Sami. What is that smell? Fans chants about Sami smelling. Kofi says he defended his title last night against Daniel Bryan so he could prove that WrestleMania 35 was not a fluke. Kofi says he is a fighting champion to prove that he wants to put it on the line tonight against either of them. Triple threat chant from the crowd. Kofi doesn't care who the match is against because he will remain the WWE champion. And they leave as the music hits for the New Day as Kofi has words with Sami and AJ in the middle of the ring with Woods nearby. Still to come, new tag team champions will be named. Also, the six woman action did not. They advertised a 6-woman tag team match, if I'm correct. Was it not supposed to be Bayley, Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair? Bayley, Ember Moon, and Carmella versus Charlotte Flair, Charlotte Flair, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. Well, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Charlotte, Carmella, who's back to blonde, by the way, and Ember Moon were there, but the other two were nowhere to be seen, so I wonder what happened there. We get a pre-recorded video of Kevin Owens in the back in his car. Says he didn't open tonight's show as it was advertised. He was supposed to open the show tonight. It did say that on Monday Night Raw last night. because it's his birthday and he's got to the arena, but thought he didn't want to put up with this crap on his birthday, so he's headed back home. Owens says Kofi's good news. That's good news for Kofi. Will end on but that will end at Money in the Bank, because Owens is taking the WWE title. Owens wishes himself a happy birthday as he ends the segment. Now, anybody with the brain could tell you this was going to end badly, well, somewhat badly. And you knew Kevin Owens was not going to be gone. Oh, I'm here at the arena, but I'm going home. Yeah, you know how that goes. A match that was advertised and actually delivered, Mustafa Ali versus Andrade. I do notice that they changed Mustafa Ali's purple lettering and Titantron and stuff to red, even though he's on SmackDown Live. They couldn't change that to blue, just semantics, you know. And I am glad that they did, because Mustafa Ali came out to the ring and they went to commercial break, and I'm like, please don't give Andrade Cien Almas a job arrangement. Just please don't do that. There's no reason to do that, and thankfully they did not. Back from break, and it's announced that Kofi Kingston will defend the title against Sami Zayn and AJ Styles in the Triple Threat main event. And we see the Money in the Bank briefcase hanging above the ring, and Mustafa Ali looks up at it as we cut the video promo on how he will win the briefcase to change his life. Out comes Andrade with Zelina Vega. I will say that the promo package for Mustafa Ali was awesome. Talking about how there's a light, and no matter how far away it is, if you see that light, you need to go towards it to, keep going ahead. He's going to go out there and he's going to win Money in the Bank. I hope that he has a good showing. Do I see Mustafa Ali winning the WWE, the Money in the Bank? No. And if they go to the stipulation that I think they will, it is very unpredictable who's going to win Money in the Bank. If they don't go with that prediction of making it so that, Did I talk about that prediction? I tried to record this earlier and I had a little bit of problems, so I may be talking about that. But we'll talk about that in a minute. What I think they should be doing in a minute. Vega takes the mic and talks about how Andrade Cien Almas will win the contract at Money in the Bank. Andrade Cien Almas also says a few words on the Money in the Bank and warns Mustafa Ali. He enters the ring and they lock up. Now, I will say this. Almas has seen the guy a lot better on the mic. He doesn't necessarily need to hold the mic. That's what she's for. She called him the only thoroughbred, unlike the Kentucky Derby. He is the only thoroughbred in the match, and he's going to win Money in the Bank. He said he is getting a lot better. It's a lot better than his NXT days where he would try and talk, and my word, what the hell was he saying? I don't think anybody knew. Back from breaking, Mustafa Ali sets Andrade Cien Almas down on the top. Climbs up and hits a huge Super Spanish Fly, bringing Almas down to the mat. Vega looks on concern as fans rally for Mustafa Ali to get up. All of a sudden, Randy Orton hits the ring and attacks Mustafa Ali from behind for the disqualification. One thing I hate seeing DQs for whatever, just happening out of nowhere, but the fact that this match did not need to have a conclusion tonight. This match, Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas, should be a Intercontinental title feud, or possibly in a year or two, a WWE Championship title feud. These guys, I know just from seeing them in their working styles, could put on spectacular matches that in Vegas with Almas still. Him and Mustafa Ali could put on some of the best matches. Mustafa Ali can cut a promo. Vega can cut the promos for Almas. And we could have these two just give us gold for a championship. I was hoping Andrade Cien Almas would go into WrestleMania to win the United States Championship. Of course, that wasn't on the cards. Hopefully, Balor will drop that to Andrade Cien Almas, and then probably at SummerSlam we can get Mustafa Ali versus Buddy Murphy versus Andrade Cien Almas for the Intercontinental title in a triple threat match. I think all three of those guys would make that match awesome. If you want to throw Finn Balor in there, make it a fatal four-way. If he hadn't dropped the title, fine, that's great. I think all four of those men would give us one hell of an Intercontinental title, and for one of the best Intercontinental title matches in SummerSlam history. After the bell, Vega tries to pull Andrade Cien Almas to safety from a draping DDT, but Orton gets kicked. Orton lets go and gets hit with a step-up kick by Andrade Cien Almas. Mustafa Ali with a couple shots and some trash talking to Orton, saying, "I'm not afraid of you." He said over and over, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you." Orton, he got kicked in the face by Mustafa Ali, and then, like, while Mustafa Ali's saying, I'm not afraid of you, he, like, checks his mouth and is like, damn, man, you got me good. Orton stays him down. Mustafa Ali blocks an RKO attempt. Orton knocks Andrade Cien almost off the apron, and I figured, oh, that's going to be it for him. Mustafa Ali unloads on Orton in the ring, dropping him to the mat. Orton then drops Ali with an RKO out of nowhere after he did a pop-up. It was a pop-up RKO. Almost, for whatever reason, decides he's going to jump in, comes flying off the top rope, and he gets caught in another RKO out of nowhere for an even bigger pop. Orton stands tall and poses as his music hits, and we go to replays. Out of the two, I'd say Almost is what's better, just because he came out of nowhere. But the fact that but for the way it goes, for Impact, I'd say Almost. For out of nowhere, I think Mustafa Ali's was better, because what the fuck was Almost even trying to do? He just jumped up to take an RKO. It's like he was just springboarding up to do nothing. I don't know. When the announcer shows what happened, this pissed me off. The announcer shows what happened on Raw with Roman Reigns and Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. We cut to a lengthy video package on Roman Reigns' entire career as if this motherfucker is retiring. This was fucking pathetic. And the thing about this is, this entire fucking video package, every time they cut to the crowd in any of these things after the Shield broke up, 2015 Royal Rumble, his match with The Undertaker, they skipped all of his losses. Him being pinned at WrestleMania 31 was not shown. Him getting pinned at WrestleMania 34 was not shown. Anytime he did something great, where we know for a fact that this guy got booed out of the fucking building, what did they do? They showed fans clapping and cheering and everything. They tried to make this guy look like he was like the most over guy in the fucking company, and his fucking manipulation, and it is pathetic. Guys, it is okay to boo Roman. Shit like this shows you why it's okay to boo Roman. This guy, this did not help Roman's cause in my book. This was fucking pathetic. It's a lengthy, and it was like 2012, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then, again, you're sitting there and you're watching this, and every time, like, he won the Royal Rumble, they show panning videos of fans cheering him, which look like they're from a different crowd. When he won at WrestleMania 33, when we know for a motherfucking fact that this motherfucker got booed out of the goddamn building the second he pinned The Undertaker. But somehow they found video footage of fans cheering this guy for beating The Undertaker. They showed a woman with the Roman Reigns gloves on look like she was crying because Roman Reigns was facing The Undertaker. Give me a fucking break. The manipulation that they put into this fucking video was just downright sickening. You had the guy over when he came back from his leukemia, and the fact that you made the leukemia like you had him come out and sound like I guarantee you, he went home from that when he relinquished the Universal title, and within a week he was in remission. I guarantee you, because the kind of leukemia he takes is in pill form. You know why he was gone for 4 months? He was shooting a movie with The Rock. He was shooting a TV show for Nickelodeon. He had so many media obligations that he could not fulfill his role as Universal Champion. So they want to come out there. I'm not saying he faked the leukemia. No, I'm not saying that. But the fact that they put it out there is like he's out there fighting a lengthy battle with leukemia. The guy probably was in remission a week after he left because of the pills that it's in pill form, the type of shit that he takes to keep himself in remission. The fact that he has to take that every single day, probably more than once a day. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I guarantee you, within a week or two of him leaving the Universal Championship on the mat, this guy was in remission, but he had movie obligations for Hobbs and Shaw. He had a TV show obligation and other obligations for TV and videos and other things and movies. He had more obligations that he could not fulfill being in WWE. So, yeah. The fact that they want to try to pull this, he was out battling leukemia for 4 fucking months. Give me a motherfucking break. It's either he was in remission way before they had him come out and say he was, or his leukemia was not as bad as it was. I'm just saying. And the fact that this video package, Charlie should have been the video package they showed the night he came back. Like, they could have showed this video package when that episode of Monday Night Raw showed up. They could have showed this video package right here if they wanted to, in which it's just showing everything that he has done from the time he started down in NXT. This wasn't even back when he first started on the main roster. They showed him back when he was Laakea, whatever the fuck his FCW name was, because he wasn't Roman Reigns in FCW. He was Laakea or something. They were showing those. And then the Shield, and everything after the Shield, and everything leading up to now. If they would have showed that then, that's fine, because, oh, he's been gone, and this is what he's done, and then they could have been, and tonight, Roman makes his return. But no, they showed it tonight, for whatever fucking reason. And the fact that the sheep in Kentucky, which are a bunch of Kentucky Fried Hillbillies for sure, I agree with Sami Zayn on that, sat there and ate this shit up and believed everything they saw on that video package. Folks, they are manipulating you to cheer for this guy, and it should not fucking work. This was a poor attempt to try and keep Roman Reigns over. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Back from break, and we get a video package for the Make-A-Wish thing, yada yada. Miz is in the ring as the music plays, and we see a replay of Miz chasing Shane away on last night's Raw. Shane says he's here to talk about the Smackdown Tag Team division, but was brutally attacked by The Miz in a cowardly fashion last night. Shane wonders what kind of human being hits another human being with the steel chair. I don't know, a professional wrestler. Shane, you've been hit with a steel chair multiple times. You have hit people with a steel chair multiple times. Is this Shane McMahon's new thing that now he's a hypocrite? Seriously? He hit George Mizanin, and then Roman Reigns hit his father. He's like, what kind of man hits another man's father? A professional wrestler who faces another professional wrestler who's a father. That's who. Shane off the people of Kentucky and says Miz didn't get the job done last night, just like he won't get the job done in the steel cage match at Money in the Bank. Shane goes about the Hardy Boys dropping the tag team titles, which was definitely sucked. Due to the attack from Sullivan, he wondered who should be the new champions, and it hit him after he went through the roster, looked up and down the roster. Who are we going to get? We have Heavy Machinery. We have Heavy Machinery. We have the B Team. We have the B Team. But it hit him. It hit him. Who was it going to be? And out came the Planet's champions, Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Rowan and Bryan come to the ring, but out come the Usos to interrupt. They're coming to... This might suck. Shane asked them what they're doing here, and they said, yeah, well, it's Roman Reigns' yard. He said we can come here anytime we want. They're ready to welcome Bryan and Rowan to the Uso Penitentiary. They enter the ring and say they worked too hard to put the division on the map for Shane to just give the titles away. They say how Bryan and Rowan need to earn those titles, and said, we earned them. The Bar earned them. The New Day earned them. I think those are the only tag teams outside of American Alpha at one time earned them. The Slater and Lana earned them. Everybody earned them. Even you, Shane, earned them. We need this to be a match, so they need to earn these tag team titles. And Shane ends up making the match and says he looks forward to seeing Bryan and Rowan beat the Usos up. He didn't, yeah, he's literally said beat the Usos up. Then calls for a referee, and we go to commercial break. This was the Usos in their element. This was the Usos how they should be portrayed on Monday Night Raw. It's kind of funny. The Usos get drafted to Monday Night Raw. They turn into wannabe rappers, comedians, poor C-grade, B-grade, D-grade comedians, and just look off. They come back one night back on Smackdown Live for the wild card editions, and they feel like they did for 2 fucking years. Amazing the difference between Raw and SmackDown for the Usos. They came out with the promo ability that they have. They came out and gave a great fucking match with Rowan and Daniel Bryan. This was a great fucking match. These are the matches I want to see the Usos and the Revival having. I don't want to see none of this fucking college humor that we got last night on Monday Night Raw. This is what I want to see for the Usos on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, Vince McMahon has his hands all over Monday Night Raw. He has to do things his goddamn way. This is how I want the Usos to look. I don't want them to look like they did last night or the week before that. I want them to look like this. Coming out here, having a damn good match with Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and putting tag team wrestling on the map and showing everybody in the back that tag team wrestling can sell and could be the main event. This was a fucking good match. Was it a pay-per-view quality match? Nah. Money in the Bank pay-per-view quality? Nah. Stomping Ground quality? Yeah, probably. Probably be the best match on Stomping Ground if it happened. But this was a match that needed to happen. This is what we want to see for the revival in the Usos. I don't want to see the college humor shit anymore. I don't want to see Ben Gay or Shave My Back shit, manscaping skits. I want to see this. And it's a damn shame that we haven't seen the Usos outside of their match with the Good Brothers last week really do much on Monday Night Raw yet. But they come back to Smackdown Live and show you why they are one of the best tag teams on the fucking planet. Not just in WWE, on the fucking planet. I wish they would have not re-signed with WWE so they could go to AEW eventually. And it could be the Usos, whatever the fuck name they would be, the Fatus, the Honorales, whatever, versus the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. The Fatus versus the Lucha Bros. The Fatus versus the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends versus Private Party. That would have been great matches. This was a good match, and quite honestly, I hope we see like some of this on Monday Night Raw, but with the fact that Vince McMahon runs Monday Night Raw worse than he does SmackDown Live, because I don't think Vince McMahon does much SmackDown Live. Vince McMahon, it's like SmackDown, it's like Raw is Vince's baby. Raw is going to be the show that Vince McMahon puts 110% into. It feels like SmackDown Live, there was more input from others on SmackDown Live than there is on Monday Night Raw. It just feels like every single week. Yes, SmackDown sometimes can be boring as hell, but it's still better than Monday Night Raw because Vince McMahon just oversees everything. Everything you see on Monday Night Raw comes out of Vince McMahon's head. It just feels like on SmackDown that not everything. It feels like you take half of what the problems on Monday Night Raw and you just pull them out and somebody else does that part while Vince McMahon has his part. It just seems what it is. Again, great match between these two teams. Rowan and and Daniel Bryan's second tag team match together, maybe third. But these four individuals are really good. Yes, I know when people say Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, Luke Harper was the better of the two. But Eric Rowan could hold himself in matches like this. He was the big monster for this tag team. He and Daniel Bryan would be a take back to some old school type teams where you have the small guy and the big guy. Daniel Bryan, of course, is the small guy and who takes the beating, and Rowan be the guy who takes the hot tag, comes in and beats on the babyface teams. That's what this would be. Jimmy tries to get to the bottom rope to break the hold that Bryan has him in. Jimmy turns it into a 2 count. Usos with a super kick to Bryan, and they both go down. Jay and Rowan both tag in at the same time. Jay with a kick. Jay comes off the top rope, but Rowan catches him in midair. Jay counters a suplex and unloads. The Usos double team Rowan and unload on him, now bringing him down. The double team continues, but Rowan still kicks out. The Usos look to go up for the double splash, but Bryan makes the save. Rowan ends up dumped over the top rope to the floor. The Usos go up for a double suicide dive, but Rowan grabs both of them. One of the brothers gets shoved into Jay gets shoved into Daniel Bryan with a running knee, and Rowan throws Jimmy into the ring barricade and then throws him into the ring. Jimmy goes for a super kick but gets crabbed into the Iron Claw by Rowan for the 1, 2, 3. And the new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions are Daniel Bryan and Rowan. After the match, Daniel Bryan and Rowan celebrate with the SmackDown Tag Team titles as Shane McMahon grabs them and takes them into the ring for them. Shane McMahon applies the new champions from ringside. Still to come, Kofi Kingston defended the WWE title in a triple threat match, also a women's tag action. Tom says Shane McMahon has the Money in the Bank announcement. After the break, we cut to the latest Firefly Funhouse segment from Raw, which sees, I saw that last night, we'll talk about what WWE's doing with their YouTube uploads. And the kids in that thing were just like, They had like no expression on their face. They looked so like not interested in anything. It was so weird. I'm still interested to see where they go with the Firefly Funhouse. So we'll see what happens there. Back to break, Shane McMahon is in the ring to make an announcement on the Money in the Bank ladder match. Shane goes on about how the winner of the Money in the Bank match, whether it's male or female, is almost he's talking so like he's talking so slow about this that I know he's stalling for the Miz to come in and attack him. He was not going to give us whatever he was going to talk about because you could just tell he's like he says the Money in the Bank ladder match, whether it's male or female, is almost guaranteed to become a champion. And he's continued, it's just like he's talking so slow. Not normal Shane McMahon speed, he's just slowed it down because he's stalling for the Miz to come in to attack him. Miz does rush the ring from behind and attacks him. Miz brawls, but Shane retreats out of the ring, up the ramp. Miz catches up with Shane on the stage and beats the hell out of him for a minute or two before the B team make the same. Misley. Did I just say Misley? Holy shit. Miz eventually fights Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas off, but Shane comes from behind with a steel chair shot to the back to bring him down. Shane with another chair shot on the ramp. Shane stands tall and looks down on the Miz as his music hits. As the commentators remind us what Shane McMahon said earlier in the night. So part of Shane McMahon's new gimmick is he's a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite. We see Daniel Bryan and Rowan backstage, and this kind of pissed me off. And this right here is a problem with the wild card rule. Rowan and Bryan are backstage walking with the titles. Heavy Machinery stops and congratulates them. That's right. Heavy Machinery, who are on Smackdown Live, just watched two superstars from Monday Night Raw come out and talk about people needing to earn titles. Where the hell were they? Why weren't they the ones to come out and try and challenge for to win the vacant tag team titles? Why was it the Usos? Yes, it makes sense because the Usos put those tag team titles on their back for 2 years. But it still makes no excuse the fact that they're Monday Night Raw and you just took a spot away from Heavy Machinery, who just are sitting in the back at catering, waiting for them to come see something. Bryan looks on to Otis and Rowan, and just shakes his head. Bryan walks off, and Rowan follows his head, and Machinery stares on there. Now, before we get to anything else, before the Miz attacked Shane, when they said this announcement was going to be made by Shane for the Money in the Bank ladder matches, my opinion, what they're going to do, and makes sense because of the wild card rule, is the fact that the wild card rule, you can have a superstar from Raw go to SmackDown, and a superstar from SmackDown go to Raw. So, quite honestly, the Money in the Bank ladder match winner, man or woman, should be able to challenge for either belts. Now, I know Becky Lynch is the Raw and SmackDown Live Women's Champions right now. She's a dual champion. If he keeps both titles, it doesn't really matter which brand the person's on. But for the men right now, if, say, Finn Balor wins it, he's that champion, he can go to Raw and face Seth Rollins or whoever the champion is and take their title. Or if Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, which I would say Drew McIntyre, wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, he could show up on SmackDown the Tuesday after SmackDown, take Kofi Kingston's head off with the Claymore kick, cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, hit into the Claymore, and new champion. That's what you can do. And what they would have to say is, if you do that, then you were on that show as the champion. Now, you're not going to be one of those people who goes to Monday Night Raw and come from Raw to SmackDown, win the title, and then take that back to Raw. No, you're the champion. Something else they need to do with this wild card rule. If you are a champion, you cannot jump between brands. It has to be everybody else. Because it gives that one spot a better chance for somebody else who's not going to be there if you're going to have the Intercontinental title or the U.S. title going from Raw to SmackDown, because that's what they can do. But that's what they're going to probably do, and I'm sure they'll have something on Twitter. I don't know, because I'm locked out of my Twitter right now. We'll talk about that another time. Ember Moon and Carmella versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. I could have swore Bayley and Charlotte Flair were supposed to be in this match, in a 6-woman tag match. It was advertised on Twitter last week. Just like 4 or 5 days ago. I remember that saying that because it was on Twitter. They had the 6-woman tag match. Kevin Owens starting off SmackDown Live and something else. Oh yes, Shane naming SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. So I don't know what happened to Charlotte Flair, where she's at. Maybe Andrade was there, so I don't see why that was a problem. And by the way, if you were going to do this wild card rule, why did you move Andrade to SmackDown again? Oh, because he's dating Charlotte Flair. Well, it's the wild card rule, so you can go to SmackDown Live anyway. Ember Moon gets her entrance. Carmella, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville all got jobber entrances. Yes, Carmella's back to blonde hair. Whoop-de-doo. So that means she's probably going to get pushed in the near future. But Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Carmella all got treated like jobbers. And you want to know what the sad part is? The winner, the person who did not get a jobber entrance, was the one to take the pinfall in this match. Moon finally gets the hot tag and unloads on Rose. Moon with more offense on and a crossbody for a 2 count. Moon runs the ropes and leaps out, taking Deville down as Deville sacrifices herself for Rose. This allows Rose to plant Moon with 8 Angel's wings. Face first into the mat for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville stand tall as the music hits. Paige comes out. She comes with Asuka and Kairi Sane. Paige says, "I used to represent you two." I don't remember what the fuck she actually called them. But I traded up. Oh, did I trade up? He says Asuka and Sane are going to rip through the tag team division starting next week with Rose and Deville. Yeah. Rose, Paige. There has to be a tag team division for you to rip through. And there's really not a tag team division for you to rip through. You have Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and the Idiotics. That's it. That's your tag team division with Kairi Sane and Asuka, I guess, by the way. That's your tag team division. What about Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott? We haven't seen them since the Superstar Shakeup, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with them. Yeah, you split up Bayley and Sasha Banks, and if Sasha Banks was to come back, you could still do the Boston Hug Connection anytime. That's another thing. Just saying. Taylor Braxton is backstage with Matt Hardy. He says, dropping the tag team titles last week was heartbreaking, but his brother Jeff Hardy has had his surgery and will be back better than ever, and all of a sudden R-Truth appears and forgot what he had to say. Matt reminds him, was it about Lars Sullivan? Truth says, yeah, I didn't want to remember. He talks about how Lars is bad news, more dangerous than anyone he's ever faced. Matt agrees with that. He's a true monster. Lars appears behind Truth, and Matt readies for a fight. Lars drops Truth with a headbutt. Lars ends up taking out Matt and then putting Truth to a table with a powerbomb after Truth tries to fight back, but it did nothing. Lars stands tall to Truth to end the segment. What are we doing with Lars Sullivan? Can we get this motherfucker in a match? Are we going to have him on the Money in the Bank pre-show against Matt Hardy and R-Truth to try and call back to when Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy faced Brock Lesnar in his, I think it was his first pay-per-view match? It was the Hardy Boys versus Brock Lesnar in a 2-on-1 handicap match in which Brock Lesnar destroyed both Hardys. Now, of course, I think Jeff Hardy was supposed to be in this equation, but that knee injury, which is going to leave him out 6 to 9 months. Yeah. So, bathroom break, and we see a pre-recorded promo from Aleister Black. He sends a cryptic warning to his opponent, asks for forgiveness for his own sins, that he will seek absolution for in a form of victory. Victory that he will take from them. I don't know what to do with Aleister Black. This has been going on for about 3 weeks now. Get this guy in the ring. This would be one thing if Aleister Black had not been on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live from February up till the Superstar Shakeup. But he's been on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live from February, from the night after the Elimination Chamber to the Superstar Shakeup, to the week after the Superstar Shakeup. So these promos make no fucking sense. Get this motherfucker in the ring. Damn it. Triple threat match. AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, and Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, baby. I had to do that one time. Sami Zayn, AJ comes out first, Sami Zayn is out next, and now comes Kofi Kingston for the last match, and we go to commercial break. No jobber entrances for any of them. Back from break, and we see the formal ring introductions from Blake Hamilton. They all three size each other up. AJ hits Kofi then goes after Zayn to the start. Kofi ends up nailing a big missile drop kick to AJ for a quick pin attempt. Kofi was more offense to AJ while Sami is down the outside. Kofi with a 2 count. Sami comes back in, but AJ gets upper hand, goes back to work on Kofi. Xavier Woods watches from ringside as AJ drops Kofi again. AJ fights Sami off and sends him to the mat. This was a good match. We're going to fast forward here. Let me see if I can find it. Sami can't get the win, but no. Styles gets up first, but Kofi sends him off to the apron. AJ with a forearm from the apron. AJ springs Woods up, but Kofi counters him in midair. Kofi knocks AJ off the apron with the Trouble in Paradise. AJ falls to the mat, and he is done for the match. That is the last time you see AJ Styles do anything. He is out. Woods rallies fans. Kevin Owens comes from behind and attacks Woods from ringside. Woods fights him off, but Owens launches Wood into the steel steps. Sami takes advantage of the distraction, hits a blue thunderbomb, close kick out for Kofi for a 2 count. Sami can't believe it. Sami eventually hits a second blue thunderbomb, but Kofi still kicks out. Sami shows his frustration as Kevin Owens looks on from the stage. He hits a third blue thunderbomb, but Kofi still kicks out right before 3. And I'm like, of course he's not going to lose. I didn't expect Kofi Kingston to lose this match. Sami charges Kofi, who's in the corner, for the haluva kick, but Kofi meets him in mid-move for a Trouble in Paradise for the 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston retains the WWE Championship. After the match, Kofi celebrates with Woods at ringside as his music hits. And for whatever reason, Kayla Braxton was on standby outside, which of course she wasn't earlier, but she was at ringside. Approaches Kofi and asks him if Kevin Owens is in his head. Kofi says Owens is not in his head, but come Money in the Bank, there will be hell to pay for Kevin Owens as the celebration resumes as Smackdown goes off the air. This has been 2 nights of this superstar wildcard rule where 4 and 4 can switch between both brands. Would not surprise me if it's 5 now. Because we had the Usos, which if that's 2, then that's 2. Sami Zayn and AJ Styles, and then you had The Miz, so that's 5. So, are we going to have 5 now? It's going to get to where it's going to be everybody can go from each brand whenever the fuck they feel like it. We're going to kill the brand split. That's what they're doing. If you kill the brand split, then if you kill the brand split before Money in the Bank, then Becky Lynch is going to retire one of those titles, and one of her matches at Money in the Bank is not going to happen. Just saying. This wild card rule is a disaster waiting to happen. A disaster waiting to happen. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I don't know what else to say about it. This wildcard rule is going to hurt everybody who wants to have a shot at doing something on this brand. If you ain't got a name to you, if you're not one of those guys or girls who goes out there and gets a huge reaction, you're not going to get to do anything. Charlotte Flair's going to get her time. Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to get their time right now. But what is Ruby Riott going to do? We haven't seen Ruby Riott or Sarah Logan or Liv Morgan since the Superstar Shakeup. We haven't seen Buddy Murphy since the Superstar Shakeup when he had his video package of, I'm coming to SmackDown Live. We haven't seen Cesaro or Cedric Alexander since the week after where they had that match, which was an excellent match. We haven't seen Sheamus since the Superstar Shakeup because he has a concussion. We haven't seen a lot of stars. Rusev Nakamura, we're not on the show. Rusev Nakamura are probably going to be shallow luck and will not be seen much anymore because you have to find room for AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Big E when he comes back. Like, anybody who wants to see a Cedric Alexander succeed on the main roster, those ideas are dead. Ricochet is going to have to find room. Aleister Black is going to have to find room for. This hurts everybody else. Robert Roode, same thing. These guys who had a chance to do something have no chance now. The wildcard rule is going to be a detriment to WWE. And it can't be the same 4 guys every single week. And SmackDown, it's not going to be the same 4 people every single week. Monday Night Raw, it's not going to be the same for every single week, but I could see Roman Reigns being on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live for the foreseeable future. This is a terrible idea. Absolutely a terrible idea. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this wildcard rule. We'll talk about it more on Smackdown on Monday, on Unscripted this Saturday. I'll have a list of people who I say will be hurt by this. But hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. I will see you guys tomorrow for NXT. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance08. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. It is still active. It's a little locked out right now, a little snafu on it that I hope to have resolved by the end of the week. And I will see you guys tomorrow for NXT. Cannot wait to see what happens there. We have ourselves a pay-per-view or a takeover coming in less than 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? We're already on 3 weeks, aren't we? Hold on. Oh, 3 weeks from Saturday. 3 weeks from Saturday, we will have a next NXT takeover already. And I cannot wait. We have to wait and find out what happens there, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.